Alright, good morning everybody. This is Mr. McKee with NOS 130. I just wanted to go over this week's project updates with you. Alright, so I'm going to go back. Let's see. Let's start in Moodle. Alright, just to let you know, this is NOS 130. Alright, it's week 15. After this week, 1 week to go, yay. Alright, so Monday, we're going to cover the additional information for the final project. This video will be in YouTube, so I'm just going to point to this video when I have it uploaded to YouTube. And what you're going to do in Packet Tracer, you're going to verify the web server is working correctly, make sure your DHCP server set up. Alright, and Wednesday we don't have any class, so shooting for everybody being able to get this done today, so it'll be won't be any stress worrying about it working or not working over the holidays. So right now also I've added index.html file to Moodle, and also a welcome.png file. Alright, and these are the default images for Internet Information Services in Microsoft Server 2012. Alright, so what we want to do, open back up our packet tracer that's kind of like simulating, giving us a network map of our final project. So one thing we need to do first is go in here under Server 2012 X2, and just know that that's 192.168.200.2. Alright, go in here and under HTTP, just make sure HTTP is on. Alright, HTTPS doesn't matter, it'll be on by default. You guys will have a index.html file. You need to go through there and actually delete that, and we're going to import those two files that are on in Moodle. Alright, so first thing we're going to do, and I've just saved these to the desktop, there's your IIS7 index.html file, and just make sure it works. Alright, so don't make a new file, import. First thing we're going to import is our image, which is right here, our welcome.png file. Open that. Alright, it saved it right there. Alright, next we want an index.html file. And let me just make sure. Let me rename. Alright, I'm going to download exactly what you guys have. Alright, that's what it looks like. And probably the easiest way to do it is save as. So it opens up in Chrome and it just shows us a blank screen. That's fine. If we actually, you know what? I will fix this. Let's view page source. I'm going to copy all of this. I'm going to put this in Notepad. Paste it in there. Alright, so this is what we're looking at. Don't really worry about all this stuff. I'm going to come down here and change this right here. Boom, welcome.png. Got it. I'll save as. Let's do desktop index.html. Save that. Okay, so what you guys don't have now, I'm going to change that on the desk on the Moodle also, but there's your index.html file. Go back here, import file, index.html, that, make sure it's in there, there it is. Alright, so I got those two new files, don't worry about all the rest of them. So if I go to one of my computers, go to the web browser, type in the IP address, 200.2, automatically index.html automatically goes to is set up as your default web page. All right, your web page you can say is the background, the gray background, and this picture right here that says IIS 7 with all the different welcome translations is your image. All right, so you know it works, good to go. You could go to any of these other computers, do the same thing. All right, bang, it works. Sometimes you have to click go, but it comes up. Packet Tracer's neat program. All right, make sure that works. All right, looking through here now, the only other thing you need to do, all right, make sure everything's typed in here word for word, other than your naming convention is your initials. Third octet is your computer number, which mine was 20, and then I added a 0. So 192.168.200 is my network, and then dot, all the fourth octet IP addresses are the same. Okay, so we've done the web server works. Go through here and make sure I can ping on my other computers, 200.1. Let's ping the DNS server. Alright, .2, web server, .3. What else do I have? Okay, my core. I can ping that. Alright, ping on my computers. And if you don't get a response, if it doesn't have your replies, something's not configured correctly. More than likely your IP addresses are incorrect. Alright, everything else has static IP addresses versus besides this NTN 110x1, which in everybody's case for NOS 130, it's just a made-up fictitious computer. You're not actually going to have to set that up on your VM. My switch, I'm just simulating my virtual machine switch in there. It's connecting everything together. Default gateway, that's my actual router out to the STARS ISP and out to the internet. Alright, so I've added one more just to show you guys. You can do this in Server 2012. You can set up a server as a router if you wanted to. Not usually gonna have to do that, but if I click on this, don't worry about all that stuff yet. Okay, so what I did was I had one, and you have to turn this off in Packet Tracer to add it if you haven't added it already, but you're going to add a second NIC adapter, network adapter. This one's actually this is actually a slow one, but that doesn't matter. These are all different flavors and models of network adapters, or some wireless, wired. We're putting that in there for now. Doesn't really matter about the speed, but just make sure you have two. One's physically connected to your local area network, and one goes outside your network. Alright, so we're just simulating that, not a big deal. But now IP address, when you set up your second network adapter, if you go through IP configuration, you actually have a drop down list with both. Alright. And if you can see, this is all I really want. This is your internal, and this is your default gateway, which everybody's computer is pointing to this. Alright. Don't really worry about the default gateway. You can just put the default gateway's own gateway. That doesn't really matter for now, for what we're doing. Go to the second network adapter. that's actually going to be pointed to a physical 192.168.254.8. Just put .8 for now, and its default gateway is going to be the actual gateway that's in the lab. Okay, and our DNS server is Google, so 8.8.4.4. Just make sure this has been statically configured for the second IP address, and it tells you Packet Tracer uses first port as the default port for forward traffic to the outside network. Okay, the second port is only for forwarding traffic within the subnet. Okay, so actually it's telling you it should be opposite, but no big deal. We're not actually going to be routing any traffic through this. Okay, so just make sure all those IP addresses are configured correctly. Alright, so make sure your display name is correct. Alright, now one thing that does need to be set up, since this has the DHCP role, you need to make sure, and one thing to note, all these hosts have their web server turned on. Just don't worry about it. Don't really touch it. Alright, so DHCP, we're going to be setting up a server pool, which is the default name is fine for the server pool. Make sure Fast Ethernet 0, which is pointing internally. It's going to assign IP addresses to all these internal computers if we set them up like that. In our case, we're just going to use the Win10X1 computer. Make sure the service is turned on. Pool name is your default server pool. Default gateway is itself. Alright, DNS server is our server 2012X1. Alright, so I'm going to start my IP address. This is going to be your pool of IP addresses. I'm going to start at 192.168.200. This says .0, but we're actually going to have it set up for .12. And reason being that Win10X1 is start at 12. Alright. And since mine's already set up, don't really need to worry about this. You can set maximum number of users at 244. I put 244, but you could actually put 254. So that's actually where it would be on a Class C subnet. Alright, now when you have it set up, if you switch from static back to DHCP, it should pull that IP address 192.168, whatever your third octet is, and then 12 as the fourth octet. Your subnet mask should be correct. Default gateway should be pointing at that DHCP server, and your DNS server should come up correct as your server 2012X1 IP address, which it did. Good to go. Alright. And if you, first time you set this up, you need to hit save. I'm going to hit save anyways because it's the same. Alright. And you can see right here your pool is going to start at 192.168.200.12 in my case. 254. It doesn't like 254, so that's fine. Oh, you know why? Because I hadn't started at 12. That's why. Okay, that's no problem. All right, so just leave it at 244. It's calculating that itself. All right, good to go. Just make sure it works. All right. So right now everything's good to go. This is going to be your DNS configuration with your forward lookup zones. Your domain is zelda.local. Alright, so I'm going to go big thing, make sure you save this. I'm going to make sure it's saving it as my NTN final network map. Notice 130. Are you sure you want to overwrite it? Yes. Alright, so all that's correct. As long as this is working, you're going to get 100% for this portion of the final project. Hopefully everybody does. Only thing I would take off, obviously, if something's configured correctly or doesn't work. Other than that is just the naming conventions. Lowercase NTM for my initials, uppercase Win for the operating system. That's pretty much across the board. Make sure your web server works and is correctly configured. Alright, now once this is done, you should be able to move on to actually configuring all these computers. Obviously leave this one out, it's a fictitious one, but you're going to set all 3 of these servers up, 2 machines. This is going to be fictitious also, don't worry about that one, we're just using it for demonstration purposes. So you have 3 servers, 2 hosts, and whatever associated roles for each of those computers. Alright, so I'm going to stop this video. I'll probably do another video actually having the machine set up. One note also, if it says maybe in parentheses for the server manager, Hyper-V, DHCP, don't do those yet. Alright, we're kind of like running out of time anyway, so we might not get to them, but don't worry about those. Alright, thanks for watching, and I will submit another video shortly.